So, we're here with The Fourth Kind, which is a 2009 movie, horror mystery sci-fi, people in Alaska, mystery of unsolved disappearances over the past 40 years, and some say it might be a federal cover-up. It stars Mina Jovovich from Resident Evil. Casey Jones is in this as well as her doctor, but I think also best friend, kinda. And Will Patton as the douchebag sheriff. I don't know how to pronounce the director writer's names. Yeah, this movie back in the day when I saw it in 2009 or whatever, or 10 maybe. Granted, it was in bad quality because it was bootleg, but even now I'm watching it and yeah, there's some stuff that's sort of that is creepy a bit with it, with her like the sessions Mina has with her patients where she does hypnosis on them and they recount stuff that happens to them at night. I did like some of the stuff. Is this stuff in their head that they're manifesting in their mind? And I forget what's not night terrors, but I forget what it's called. It's basically you're afraid. You have hallucinations when you're asleep at night, or night terrors. I guess I should just say it. The acting in this is fine from everyone. Mina plays a psychologist who her husband apparently he died, and um, she has a son and daughter. The daughter's blind because of what happened. Somehow she became blind from that. Okay. The son blames her for. I tried to give the kid, uh, some leeway, but it's like you're blaming your mom for something she didn't. I really didn't care for her son. The daughter, I felt bad for because by the end, whatever. Also because she's blind, so and kids make fun of her. But I did like her. I did like Mina. They're more closer than her and her her son. You do feel for her. Well, at least I felt for her character by the end. I mean, everybody. She's trying to figure out these weird coincidences with these patients seeing an owl, which I guess the alien abduction cases, people will apparently they report seeing owls before they were taken. Or, but yeah, just even that thought, like somebody you're asleep in your own bed, and then something in the middle of the night just grabs you, and you don't know what happens because you black out or whatever. I did, and they do in this movie sort of shot like almost like a documentary at the beginning because it's like Mina Jovovich literally is like I am Mina Jovovich. At one point they show a UFO on. I mean it's distorted a bit, but you see at least a black something big and whatever something floating in the air, a black ship. Because at one point the sheriff, because he doesn't believe, he thinks there's something fishy with her going on because she did a session with a guy who ended up murdering his family, and the sheriff blames her for putting him under hypnosis, so maybe that's what caused him to go crazy. But she's like, there's more to this, and so I don't know. I sort of liked, um, I like the recounts of what happened, but they don't really go into. I like the acting from the actors that portrayed these people during their hypnosises. I liked their performances. You don't see anything, which is bull, because you know it's in their head and they're supposed to be seeing this, and we as the audience should see it. I would assume, but I guess it's scarier if we don't. But even when Mina's recollection, she ends up finding out. Oh, she's been as well abducted and visited at night and um, stuff like that, and uh, Casey Jones's character, April or whatever his name is, um, he sort of backs her up at the beginning, where he tries to talk to the sheriff about, well, you don't want to arrest her for something that she did, because like at one point a guy, one of her patients, I think it's Tommy. It's either no, it's a different guy, I believe, but that guy and that scene where he gets possessed or whatever, I guess in that moment, even though I guess she said she wasn't gonna put him under, but then they're filming him, and then she's like, "I put him under," but I didn't think anything would happen or whatever. And then he levitates off the freaking bed and shouts or whatever, "I am God" or whatever. Or no, it's her part, her hypnosis of where she gets possessed. At one point, uh, and again, we don't see any aliens. All it is supposed to be real footage of what happened to people in their sessions, which again I like, but I would have liked to actually seen some aliens. So that's why, like, some of these alien movies where they try to do these abduction UFO stuff, they don't. I get it, like, oh, it looks silly if we actually saw little gray beings. That's what people claim to see, so like, why not show it? Make them look a bit more. Even in that movie Communion with Christopher Walken, I like that movie a bit. It actually showed freaking aliens. Granted, some of them look silly, not really, accurate. But I mean, I guess to him, even the way it ends, I thought was sad because like it's depressing because pretty much everybody either denies what happened because you know people stuff happens to them and then they're like, yeah, your husband suicide. That's all that happened. Nothing else happened. I don't know what happened to her daughter. And even the police guy I was mentioning earlier in this, where when the daughter gets taken, because the sheriff wants to keep Mina on um, lock and key, he sends out a deputy to watch her house. And during that stakeout, he literally sees a ship hovering over her house, and he sees somebody being taken. He's like, "They're being taken," and then he's like, "Call for backup." And they get there, and then Will Patton is like a douchebag. He's like, because the officer's trying to tell him what happened. I mean, I, I don't know what I saw, but I saw like uh, this thing, but it wouldn't record. And he's like, "Get a hold of yourself." And then he goes to confront Mina and her son, and it's like, I mean, at that scene, I did like how the son was trying to calm the mom down, so he was trying to come around a bit. But then he decides to revert to his old douchebag ways. Because then they want to take the son away from her because they think she kidnapped her daughter or killed her or something. And Will Patton refuses to, because Mina knows there was an officer outside her house who saw what happened, and and the sheriff refuses to bring him in the room and account what he saw. He just dismisses everything. And I'm like, there's like no winning with this guy. Like, why even argue with him? But yeah, pretty much she gets blamed, and Elias coaches Casey Jones. He pretty much leaves her in the dust. He doesn't back her up at all after that. Um, after they visit her in the hospital, um, and then the movie ends where the real Dr. Tyler, Emily, whatever, she's pretty much throughout this, she's recounting what happened throughout the movie, narrating. But like she was like really scary because like she's deteriorating. She's in a wheelchair, and even the text at the end where it says she's relocated to the East Coast or wherever, and she has to be on constant medical care as her health is deteriorating or whatever, and her son still blames her 22 years later. I believe he still blames her, and so it's like, wow. So he hasn't changed at all. So yeah, I would say it's a pretty depressing movie because these aliens are douchebags, and again, it's not a horrible movie, but I don't even think this made a lot of money. It probably bombed. I mean, again, and even at the end at the ending credits, they play audio from different witness accounts of people throughout the world accounting their sightings of UFOs, which sounded way more interesting than what was in the movie a bit. I don't know. How about we just, well, I don't know. But anyway, I didn't mind. I don't hate the movie, but I don't like it much either. Again, the acting's fine. The way it's shot is decent, but again, it cuts. And some points, it literally will have real footage next to the dramatization movie footage, or movie being shot while it's showing the actual footage. So it wasn't a problem, but I don't know. This one wasn't really. I guess it wasn't really all that.